And when people would ask me what keeps you up at night, thinking it's the contracting, we had 200 projects a year, we had, the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore and so on. In my head, I'm like, really? It's these studios, it's Zen Yoga. And so the growth of Zen Yoga was causing, I don't want to use the word stress, but it was much more complicated than one would think.
Okay.
And I realized that being a founder was in some ways much harder than running a public company. And so I started working with other founders.
Is there more that we could be doing, or is there something specific that we should be doing? Like you have these initiatives where you have to have women on boards, etc. I mean, is it?
I think that we're looking, and we're very data driven. So we're doing the analysis and saying, what series do women fall off at? So a lot of women start companies on the seed level. The percentages are very different than on the Series B level, right? So we're trying to assess, why is that? Which will then lead us to what more can we be doing? Is it because they're building companies that solve problems, for example, that they are aware of, and the people funding the companies aren't as aware of those problems? So is it a language or a recognition challenge? Is it a gender bias? Is it the age at which they're starting companies? Is it their background? So we're really trying to assess before we come up with proposed solutions. What I will say is we've recently done some analytics based on a hunch that we have at Global Ventures, which is to say, what is the percentage of female founders across industries? And is there any sort of correlation with the percentage of female founders in the Fortune 500s?
Okay.
Right, to say, let's say contracting or construction, 0 in this industry in venture, and a very small percentage of Fortune 500s, if any. Whereas things like education or healthcare, there's a lot more women as a percentage of total C-suites in Fortune 500s, and the percentage of female founders in these spaces is much higher versus fintech, which is much lower. So given that there's a correlation, and given that now is definitely a hot time to do ed tech, health tech, we are seeing more female founders come into the space, and then it's our role to support them.